You're a siren who is trying to lure a ship full of sailors to their death. Please, one of the sailors begs as he swims onto your island, almost too willingly. Stop. You're so bad at singing. Story 1. Errol had been the first and final man to visit her on her rock-pool island in the uncharted sea. He'd been a handsome captain of an exploration vessel, and when her wailing had hit his ship like a vile storm, when men's ears bled and they begged for mercy, it had been Errol who'd tied cloth around each of their ears, dampening the terrible sound. It'd been Errol who'd rowed alone in a smaller vessel to find her. To stop her. Now, many years later, she watched this new vessel with interest, her mouth for now closed. Although this ship was much larger than Errol's had been, it wore the same livery and flags as Errol's ship once had. Bore the same topless goddess carving as its figurehead. Men and women screamed alike as the sea bubbled up around their ship. Babies wept in their mother's arms. The ship moaned, rocked, lifted. "Where's the captain?" yelled Maria, struggling against the rolls of water that rushed through the inside of the ship. Morgan, the dog's body, pointed to the stairs, said, "At the wheel." Not that its salt water sprayed against him, a wave threw him to the floorboards. "Here, take my hand." Maria helped the boy to his feet, then made her way up the stairs, knuckles red as she gripped the banister each time a wave battered against her. "Captain!" she yelled, stumbling towards him like a drunk. "Captain!" When the captain saw her, he took the rope from off his own waist and tied it around hers. "It'll keep you from being washed away." "What's happening?" "I made a mistake. I shouldn't have brought us this way. It's where Errol vanished. I knew it as well as anyone. Better, even. This sea is cursed. That was a century ago. It's a legend, nothing more. And if you..." Her mouth remained open but no words left. The creature rose above them. It blotched out the sun and shadowed the ship. Loomed over it like a tidal wave of scales and teeth. A tentacle as thick as a tree crashed down on the deck near to them, splintering wood. "God help us." Errol had landed on the pebble beach. She was sure he'd come to kill her. His head was wrapped by shawl and scarf. Her singing was of no use. She swiped at Errol with her clawed hands as he tried to clamber out of his boat. "Please," he said. "I come unarmed. I come with only peace in my heart." So long ago, she thought. She held a piece of cloth that had once covered Errol's ears and watched as the Kraken rose above the latest ship. A body lay next to Maria. A man, one of the few soldiers on the transport vessel, lay crushed, chest flattened. She untied the rope from her waist, then uncurled the dead man's fist and took the spear from his hand. "Maria, don't be a fool!" yelled the captain. She charged towards the tentacle wrapped around the mast, as it slowly cracked the wooden pole like a spine. She shouted over her shoulder, "You have a better plan?" He didn't. He had no plan at all. She thrust the spear through the scales and into the wet flesh. The creature didn't even flinch. The mast snapped. Fell. Maria. Errol had stayed with her. His ship had sailed on without him, as he had instructed. He wasn't sure how his plan would pan out, if he'd calm her or only enrage her further. "You're singing," he'd said. It repels people. It hurts them." She had meant it to. It was the song of her heart. As tar-black as the depths of the sea. She could not swim and had been stranded here as a child, a freak of gods and demons, on this lonely rock, to live off whatever washed up in the pools. To harbor hatred for all she was jealous of. Here she had been for centuries. It was her heart's song. It was all she could sing. And yet, she couldn't bring herself to kill him. Not yet, at least. She made Errol tell her of life outside of the island. Eventually, she told him about life on it. They fished together that night. Cooked by fire. Told stories of the stars. Slowly, over many weeks, they became enchanted with each other's quieter siren song. The captain jumped at Maria and they tumbled to the floor as the mast collapsed. Too slow. His left foot was caught, crushed. He lay trapped. Maria had his hand, tried to free him as a tentacle rose above them. "It's okay," he said. "We had a good run, didn't we? It's not over." He smiled against the pain. They both knew it was. And then came the sound. A melody that seemed to rise from within each of them and make its way outward. But that wasn't right, it was on the air, in the breeze and water. A melody so delicate and wondrous that it seemed written by the gods themselves. The captain thought it was the song of cherubs who must be, even now, taking him beyond. "The sound," said Maria. "It's like a harp being strummed in my heart. It's beautiful." The tentacle, high in the air above them, slowly lowered, gently, back into the sea. The creature itself rocked slowly as it settled and sank peacefully into the water, lulled into a deep, deep rest. She watched the ship long after the Kraken slumbered, as the people on board repaired it the best they could. She sang for them as they worked. All the while she held the precious rags to her chest. Whether these people visited her after or sailed away, she didn't mind. She didn't feel lonely. She was glad just to have sung the new song that possessed her heart. Story 2. Their songs call out to sailors. With beautiful hums and hymns. But men alike, they lose their psyche, when they see the beast within. Captain Starboard's tune rang out over the ocean, his men chanting along merrily. Upon reaching the last line the crew took hurried gulps from their cups, then started the song back up from the start. Starboard was always a jolly man, or at least as jolly as a captain could be in these times, but his song was for more than just to lift the spirits. It was to clog the men's ears. Fill their minds so no other voices could be heard, and it worked, mostly. "Keep it up, lads. We've almost crossed the Sound," Captain Starboard yelled out over their chants. Looking out over his ragtag crew he thought back to years prior. To tying men to the posts and watching them thrash about upon hearing the siren's lure. Of watching men, his men, dive overboard to their inevitable deaths, helpless to stop them. The singing would work, but how long until it didn't? 1 trip? 2? It wasn't enough. The song reached its end once more. "Start it back up, lads. Next year I'll give it more verses, make it easy to sing our way through." Once again the song started back up, only a little less merry this time. "Oh, and Lars, give me your scope for a tick. I want to see what we're up against." Starboard gestured to a man nearby. A tall man to Starboard's right went to pull something from his coat but paused halfway through the movement. He froze in place, eyes glassed over, staring out into the sea. Starboard had seen this before, he feared. Too many times. He reached into Lars' coat where his frozen hand gripped the scope and yanked it out, putting it up to his eye. Scanning the sea he saw the hag where she had been last year, the year before, and once before that too, sitting casually on the rocky shore, her lower half dunked in the water. "Tie Lars to the mast. Keep the song up, lads, and do it with feeling, lest you want to be fish food." Their song calls out to sailors. With beautiful hums and hymns. Starboard started them off again, to which they followed his voice. "Attaboys. Now wish your captain luck." Before any man could stop their beloved captain he was off the side head first. He could hear a few of their screams behind him, but even more so he heard his song grow louder. The moment Starboard crashed through the waves it became clear to him what had gotten Lars. Through the crashing of the sea, past the sound of his men, and beyond the noise of his own labored breathing there was something else. A screeching. A horrible noise like swords clashing in a duel. He had never heard the siren's song, but this horrible noise could be mistaken for no other. With one arm before the other the captain paddled forward, each stroke bringing him closer to the shore and further from his watery steed. Finally as he approached he got a good look at the beast. A woman, fair-haired and soft. Her face was a thing of beauty, and if it wasn't for that awful sound coming from her he'd have been fooled into finding it attractive. As he swam up the song stopped, the beast looked down to him in the water. "Couldn't resist?" it mocked. "Ha! Couldn't resist shutting yet up. What'd ya call that babble anyways?" He drew his sword from his belt for emphasis. The women looked taken aback. She clutched her bare chest as a woman clutched pearls. "This is the first I'm hearing of it. It worked on your men before, didn't it?" Starboard gritted his teeth at the thought. The thought of his crew saming to their deaths at the hands of this beast. Of dying such a pathetic way to underhanded magics. But she hadn't said her words with malice, but with genuine confusion. You don't know, do ya? Your song is, well, awful. Sirens are said to sing such beautiful hums that men can't resist. They swim to their deaths, their captains sailing them to demise. Ships crash up on the show. He cut himself short, now noticing that there were ships on this shore. Plenty of piles of planks and prehistoric wood floating about. Crates of supplied washed up on the rocks. The siren smiled, showing rows of teeth like busted bottles of rum. It seems, good or bad, my song is irresistible either way. It worked on you, did it not? Starboard held fast to his sword. Irresistible? I'll show you a tune, hag. Their songs call out to sailors. With beautiful hums and hymns. But men alike, they lose their psyche, when they see the beast within. The women look like gold, bare chests, and songs so sweet, but look into their hearts and mouths and lad, you'll surely weep. The siren claimed another on that day, but her tune changed. No longer the sound of clashing swords, but Captain Starboard's tune now rang out through the sound. And that song, a song of warning, well, the siren couldn't resist singing it, and the men stayed far away. Story 3. Ah, another mortal who has fallen for my charms. It's almost too easy. Come now, I'll draw you in with my song of love. Oh, what do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? Boats are really boring. Put the captain in a jar if he's naughty, put the captain in a jar if he's naughty, put a captain in a jar, early in the morning. Zalai watched as the sailor cringed, nearly sinking as he covered his ears. The momentary stop of his paddling causing the rough sea waves to rattle him, nearly pulling him under. Soon the sailor gritted their teeth, continuing their paddling towards the shoreline where the siren laid, trying desperately to avoid listening to any more of that horrible slaughtering of a beloved song. Works every time. He was so stunned by my beauty that he nearly drowned. Another verse for my sailor friend? Why hey rough disguises, why hey rough disguises, why hey rough disguises, early in the morning. Zalai threw up her hands, unable to stop herself from enjoying her own tune, having so much fun singing the song. The sailor didn't seem to have half as much fun as the siren, struggling once again as he covered his ears. This time he submerged, only rising when the water in his ears dulled the sound coming from the shore. When he reached the shoreline, the seawater was already oozing from his ears. The sailor hugging the ground as he coughed up water. Ah, gah. Blug. Great song, right? You may now give me your treasure. Zalai said cheerfully, holding out her hands, expecting grand riches. Why you killed that song? Why are you so bad at singing? The crew is going crazy listening to your songs every day. Why do you torment us like this? Can't you just kill us and spare the misery? Bad? But my voice is as smooth as the ocean and just as beautiful. The man's words confused her. Why would she want to kill him? Kill you? I just want some of your treasure. I hear pirates have a lot of treasure and I want some. Something shiny or pretty will do. Oh, I'll have that ring of yours. That's my wedding ring. You can get another. Come on, gimme. Oh, what do you dash? Fine, fine, you can have it. Please, just no more singing. He tossed his ring at the siren, the small silver ring bouncing off her forehead, leaving a small red mark as it rolled down onto the shore. She collected the ring, looking it over before tossing it onto the ground behind her, already bored with it. Got anything else? Do I look like I have anything else? Maybe I should sing again. If I get more of you to come over, I can get even more rings. No one else will come. Yes, they will. My songs have the power to charm anyone to my side. They don't. The only reason I'm even here is to tell you that your singing will never work. No one will ever be charmed by it. You say your voice is as smooth as the ocean and you might be right. The sailor pointed at the rough waters behind them, the waves crashing against the rocks, sending spurts of water flying. He hoped that would emphasize his point. Ah, thank you. Wait, that didn't sound like a compliment. Because it wasn't. What if we give you some treasure and you stop singing? But that's not how it works. I don't want treasure that way. I want to earn it. Why do you even want treasure? Don't sirens eat humans? We do. Mother never mentioned that before she left. I just assumed you wouldn't taste very good. She leaned over to the sailor, opening her mouth, revealing rows of sharp pin-like teeth. She went to take a small bite out of his arm, only for the sailor to blurt out a few quick words. We don't. We taste awful. It's like eating gunpowder and sweat. That description was enough to halt her bite. The siren considering it before shifting back. Thought so. I don't get it. Why don't you like my singing? Isn't this how my kind sing? No, your kind hum beautiful sounds that enchant the hearts of sailors. They don't sing their own versions of our shanties. Oh? Like this? Hum. She hummed a small tune, one that eased even the hardest heart. The sailor found his anger waning, feeling an urge to throw himself into the water for her. He stood up, turning to approach the water once more. Earl lives in Mornig. Why I hey, rough de Sweekses. She threw up her hands again before laughing. So much fun. The sailor snapped out of the trance, the cold water drifting across his toes. Huh? So you can actually sing like a siren? Why do you choose to sing our songs, then? They sound like a lot of fun. Every time your ships pass, I always feel an urge to sing along to your songs. I love your little tunes. You know you're singing them wrong, don't you? Well, it's hard to hear them from all the way out here. I'm getting better though. In a few years, I might even know the entire song. My ears won't last a few years. How about I teach you how to sing it? You would do that for me? If it stops you singing that other version, yes. So, the sailor spent the rest of the evening teaching the song to the siren. Enduring her horrible, customized lyrics until finally she had memorized it. The siren able to pick up the shanty rather quickly. When she sang the correct lyrics, the sailor felt that trance hit him once more, her shanty a thing of beauty, the perfect tribute to the art of piracy and one that made his heart swell with bravado. That was amazing. I feel like I could sail into Davy Jones' locker after hearing that. How about this as a trade? If you sing that song for us every time we sail past, I'll drop some treasure off for you. You will? The siren smiled, baring her sharp teeth. When her pointed teeth were fully in view, the sailor backed away, putting some distance between them. I will. Swear on my captain's ship. Which is technically my ship too, since if it sinks, I sink. He laughed, but the siren only looked at him, confused, unsure what he meant by that. Then I will happily sing it for you. Just make sure it's the right version. When you sing it properly, it actually sounds beautiful, unlike that horrific version you used to sing. Ah, I still like that version. Fine, I'll sing your version. Will you all sing back? I hear how much fun you have when you all sing it together. I would love to join in. Sure. As long as it's sung properly. Yay, I can't wait. Make sure to sail past a lot. While the siren was daydreaming about them all singing together, the sailor snatched his ring, sliding it back onto his finger. With his ring back, he dived into the water, swimming to his boat with a newfound energy. Maybe sailing this route wouldn't be so horrible anymore. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more, YouTube thinks you might like these videos.